sitting one day, and as the universe provides when we allow, in a silent state, I was thinking about what words vibrate with me. I said, wow, first of all, I need to break away from what I was just doing. It's a break, a clean break. I've got to separate that business. And then how do I do that? It's not easy. It's difficult. We must stop and take a deep breath to catch ourselves, to bring us back to our center, disconnect, or break away from whether it's the family going to business. We must take that deep breath. Then think, what will we do to fully engage and bond into the next meeting or family outing or what have you that we're going to engage? We must separate. I've created the transition tool, which allows you to break, breathe, and bond right here. Made of fine sterling silver jewelry, yes, both large and small size, more of a woman's size and a men's size. They're available for children if you want to manage your child a little bit better or a teenager. You put the words on there that matter, because words matter. We sculpt our thoughts. These are my 3 B's. Break, breathe, and bond. Keep your energy high. Transition. Make your day a piece of artwork. Sculpt your words. Sculpt your time. Sculpt your life. Good evening, everyone, and good morning from Thailand, sunny Thailand. It rained massively this morning, and the sun came up. The air is clean, the birds are singing, and life is good. So I hope the same for you, wherever you are. And just in case you hit a speed bump, or you hit a wall, or you hit a tree, and you've got some change going on in your life, then this video, this webinar, this get together here is for you. And I know all of us have hit some walls in our life and dips, mountains that seem like we needed to climb. We'd never make it to the top. Change given to us, which there seems to be a lot of change going on in the world. But we're here talking to or with North America, but we're speaking with everybody in the world, because if you are ready to embrace change, not complain about change, we have 2 roads, right? The fork in the road. We have a choice. My name's Peter Stone. I'm the founder of Peter Stone Jewelry Company back in 1987 because I wanted change. There was change in my life. And really a short story here, I was working on merchant ships. And I thought, I think I'll get a little side business and invest some of my money. And I was living in Key West, Florida, actually, at the time. I took some of my money and invested in a store in Key West on Duval Street in the 600 block. And I bought a business. I bought a gift store business, and I imported from Taiwan. But it wasn't just any gift. It was nautical gifts. So what they did was they beached ships, they cut them up, and they took the beautiful brass parts and windows and portholes and made them into gorgeous furniture. So it was recycling from the get-go. And I saw an opportunity, and I used old teak. There was old teak, not new teak, recycled, and dead wood. And so they made a little bit of furniture out of it, accent
on to the big giant windows that became coffee tables. So I invested in that business and started working. And then on the ships I was working on, they changed the power. They started shifting to motor ships. I'm a steam engineer. And I'm a motor engineer too. I have a license to operate both, limited horsepower, all that. And I didn't like motor ships. I would do it on the side, like there were generators on steamships for power and all this. But when the main power plant became a motor and I became a mechanic, I said, it's time for change. What am I going to do? So I held my hands out and I said, what is my goal? What is my dream? What is my passion? My passion is to travel, because I already had traveled 46 countries and I was living life. I was like on these ships. It's like in this stateroom, making money, get all my medical, everything, traveling the world and living the dream. And I quit. 6-figure income, working 6 months a year. I quit because I didn't like motor ships. I couldn't see myself working 6 months a year. Actually, I was one time, it really hit me hard. So I pulled into the Philippines. We shut down the engines. It's warm in the Philippines, just like it is in Thailand. We're in the dock in Manila, and they needed us to move fast because the cargo ships no longer stayed in port for a long time. So these pistons on these engines are 90 centimeters, which is just about 1 yard wide. And there were 9 of them. And we had to go in and change a bearing. So on that ship in the Philippines, we had to go in and change a bearing. So this was a motor ship. I was on steamships before, and I'm like making really good money, extra money, because it was a motor ship, and I know why. So we opened the side of the crankcase and went in there. It's like 140 degrees, 130 degrees. The engine just shut down an hour ago. Lube oil still dripping off the bearings. And now we got to take this thing apart and remove the bearings inside the cranks. And I'm like, it's hot, it's humid, and it's dripping lube oil all over me. And I'm like, next, I'm out of here. But I did the job. I finished the ship. But then after that, we had to go and clean the exhaust ports out on this big engine. You can imagine the exhaust ports for one cylinder, chunks of carbon that were hard as a rock. And they gave us this chemical, this magical chemical that you could spray on this caked on rock hard carbon, and it would just drop off. Tight space. After we changed the bearing, this was the next day, or the next evening, or the evening, sorry. We were out of there really fast. And we're blowing this, and the carbon drops off, and my lungs, just imagine what was going on with my lungs, even though I had a mask and all this other stuff. And I just said, the end. And then there's a lube oil purifier, and that was just clean it a couple times a day. Another like suck-ass job that I didn't want to do because I had options. There's options no matter what. So there's no more steamships. Very difficult to get a job on a steamship now because they're all motor ships. And I said, okay, I'm leaving. And I looked at my hand. I'm like, what could I do? I got to travel. And I looked down and I said, gemstones. I can fill my hands with gemstones. I had been getting a magazine for a newspaper, the Bangkok Post, and they were advertising the school, a gemology school in Bangkok. And I went and I checked it out I did a basic course, and I came back and did the whole thing. So I became a gemologist, and that's what these little letters are. GG is graduate gemologist, accredited gemologist, and a fellow of the Gemological Association of Great Britain, and then I studied diamonds in Belgium, in Antwerp. So I've done a bit of studying. That was all before I got into the jewelry business. So I left all that stuff behind. I had this change. I was forced because I would not live a life that did not serve me, serve my passions. Like, I didn't want to struggle every day just to put money in the bank when there were so many other things to do, to make money, to profit. So how about you? Where are you in your life today? What are you doing? What are some things that you think, so I was on that same ship, and we were cranking the engines up in one port. It's like almost like sticking the key and turning the key and starting, but you got to get a few things moving. Not like a steamship. You have to warm up the plant. You got to do all this cool stuff. It's like an event to get the ship ready to go to sea. And you're going to sea. You really, I mean, you've got this huge power plant, 5 stories high, and you got something going on here. And if something screws up on the 3rd or 4th deck, you are gone like a rocket, because it's an emergency situation, like a water pump, a feed pump, or anything, right? So it really kept your senses on. Anyone who goes to sea or has been in an engine room or knows the challenges to sea while everything's rocking around and crashing around, you got to fix it. You don't pick up the phone and call the plumber. You don't pick up the phone and call the engineer. You don't pick up any. You do it. It's a matter of life and death. So you figure that out. And once a few of these challenges come along, it seems to train the mind. So I have expertise in quite a few areas, not only building business, but keeping ships afloat. Because the very first ship I got on in New Orleans, it was an old ship built in the 40s, still left over from World War II, and some of the engineers were left over from World War II. And, I won't even go into that. So I get on the ship, and the first day, I'm like, so what do I do? I'm an apprentice engineer, cadet engineer. I show up in the engine room. It's like 95 degrees, and we're in New Orleans. And they're saying, okay, look, go get that bag of cement and some wood. And so more wood, because they'd already built this little box around a leak in the side of the ship under the water level, like the ship's filling with water. And we're going to Africa. We're going to Cape Town, Africa. And I had never been on a ship this big with people I didn't know. And it was a brand new job for me. I'd never been an engineer down in an engine room like that in my life, because I was always on the deck. I was a captain and operating boats all my life, not giant engines. So I'm like, for real? We're going to mix this cement, put it in the box, and then we're going to Africa? Shit. Okay, let's go, gang. I guess you guys must know what you've been doing. You've been doing this for a long time. You're still alive. The ship's floating. So I did what they said. And I learned in many situations. And that's why I can talk about, from authority, really, embracing challenge. And when I was on those ships, I learned to drink and party and go to the pharmacy in South America and get everything across the counter that's illegal here. And it was free. I mean, it was so cheap, so pennies to ruin your life. It was pennies going to the pharmacy, giving you these legal, right? You walk in, you get all these things that we call in America crossroads. I mean, all this crazy stuff to ruin your brain, ruin your life. And then we had aguardiente in Colombia when I went to Colombia. So I had a chance to embrace change so much. Changing seas, ships, and changing from drugs to drinking to agua de ante. I mean, it was just crazy. And I did this for a long time. And I got a lot of experience. And I'm still alive. No charge. It's a ton of fun stuff, actually. So, how about you, where you are? You don't have to do all that stuff, but just any change that you want to embrace. I quit those ships. I built the jewelry business, and I'm here at Crossroads, right? Change. One woman, I have a 3,500 square foot store. I don't know anything about online, Peter. I just did on my stores. How can we make this happen? Other people, look, it's change. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? You know, lots of change going on in the world. One of the biggest challenges I see when people come and they fill out an application for wholesale is this COVID thing, okay, which is, I looked at a chart yesterday. Yeah, a lot of people get sick. Very few die. Very few die. And the ones that do die usually are pretty sick anyway. So you just need to, kind of like, boop. And it's not always the case, but there's always exceptions to the rule, isn't there? There's always exceptions. So don't pay attention to that stuff and be fearful and live into your life. So getting on, where are you? What is it that you want to change? We need money. We know. I mean, the government says we need money. Let's just give you some money. No, let's figure out how to make some money and say no. Say no. Let's work together and embrace change and make some profit while we're doing it. So I had to change from the ships, and I changed from really getting paid by a large company who owned the steamships. It was like I owned the ship. It was like my ship because no one was there telling me what to do. They said, get it across the ocean and don't get it there as fast as and efficiently as you can. See you later. It's your baby. You run it. So it wasn't a job, really. It was, but it wasn't. It wasn't like, someone sitting there telling you got to do all day. No, you get that baby across the ocean and back. So I left it, a 6-figure job for something I had no idea whether it was going to work. I did have some feelers when I went and I was in Thailand and I was studying the gemology. Before I was studying the gemology, I came here and I did a sample. I bought some rings, sterling silver rings. And I was fortunate, like 3 or 4 years before I started my business, I bought these rings and I flew to Pakistan and the shower pristine. And I know it got ruined a little bit, but it seems to be back on track. And beautiful rivers, the best trout fishing in the world in Pakistan. So amazing journey. I learned a lot of things. I stayed there for like a week and a half, ended up at Khyber Pass, and I sold the rings I bought in Thailand. They made jewelry in Pakistan, but it was handmade, it was crude. Nothing like the Thais. So I got to trade jewelry, sterling silver jewelry, and tourmalines and all kinds of cool stuff in the markets in Peshawar. And what an experience. I just had a blast. I mean, this beautiful British-built hotel. It was a it was like 3 rooms. Gorgeous. This woodwork, $15 a night. I'm out looking over the Swat Valley. I mean, it was breathtaking. Only because I wanted a little diversion on my way back to America. And I had met this woman in San Francisco who was dating like the VP of Honeywell GE, and she lived down in the marina, and we were friends, and we met actually in a recovery place, right, for drinking, and that's so we met. She was really nice, Maria, and it's interesting. So she recommended. She says, I got this really cool book by J. Krishnamurti called Freedom from the Known. After I went to Pakistan, I said, and she starts telling me, so she gave me the book. So I went there to just check it out on the way back to the United States and to New Jersey, to New York, actually. And I ended up in Cape May, New Jersey. And I sold some of those rings, and I sold well, and that was the end of that. So years had passed, and I studied the gemstones. And I wanted to sell gemstones because I thought smaller, bigger money didn't work. That's that. I went into the jewelry business. Just buy low, sell high, and learn along the way. And that's what I did when I left the ships. But I was driven nonstop. I just knew I loved the Keys, and I loved New England, and I had this thing like I could go to these places that people paid a lot of money to go in the summertime for their 1 or 2 week holiday, and I would get paid for going to these beautiful places that that's their holiday. So this is where the profit came from. Excuse me, my thinking was, how can I have fun, enjoy the journey, and I turned it into what I call the jewelry journey. Because jewelry is small. I mean, you can go back through history, learn about jewels and gemstones, war, and tough times. People collected gemstones, jewelry, precious metals. Why? Because they're valuable no matter where you go in the world. And they fled countries in Europe back in the 40s. And today, who knows? But you have to flee states, maybe, I don't know. And you can do the same thing. I mean, you get something of value if you're selling T-shirts. So this client of ours, he sells tie-dye and he sells jewelry, and he's got a big giant trailer behind his van filled with tie-dye shirts. He makes a lot of money. He has a good time with it. It's a ton of work. He works like 20 hours a day when he's doing this because he's got to set it all up, big space. But with jewelry, it's a small space. So his jewelry is a couple of tables, but the other stuff is like 30 feet by 30 feet, all the clothing. He told me, he says, Peter, geez, I'm not worried about the jewelry. And he's in Thailand. And he's like saying, I don't know. He's an older guy, and he wants to take a little easy. And I'm like, okay, cool. He says, I don't know if I'm going to go back there. And I've done this for 20 years. Maybe I'll just skip another year. And I have friends there that will do this for me. He says, my biggest challenge is the shirts. I can't let them sit in the van for more than 2 years or they will deteriorate. I'm like, really? I didn't know that. I was thinking like maybe to get moldy or something. So that's your inventory. He says, quote unquote, I'm not worried about the silver and the gemstones and the rocks I collected. I'm not worried about that at all. So that's all safe, and some people are helping me sell it, and maybe that could be you. Anyway, the thing is that with change, if you close the business, and if online is a challenging business to expand today, but I know firsthand because I've been working on this thing for 5 years since late 2014. I've been working like quite a bit trying to figure this thing out. Pinterest and all the social media, everything, right? And it's not my thing. And if it's your thing, great. But online stuff is not my thing. But I'm here because it's change. I am here because I'm embracing the change. I prefer to be with you face to face at a store or at a show or something, which I will be, but in the moment, taking advantage of the online presence. So do smart stuff, right? When the challenge is there, embrace change, but then ultimately set your goal. And if it's for traveling and fairs and festivals, I'll be back. And but it's kind of a good test for me because I haven't stayed in one spot for 6 months for, who knows, 50 years, 60 years, I don't know. It's amazing for me. So every now and then my foot starts tamping, and I think, well, maybe I need to get out there, get on the road, and go see some people face to face. So the same old thing. Thailand is really good. It's festive every night. I was in the marketplace last night, loaded up with organic fruits, vegetables, everything I needed. The juicer will be running soon. And so living good. And when you embrace change, I want to emphasize hugely, when you embrace change, you get your paper out and your pen and you say, weighing it out. I'm just thinking, I'm like, yeah, if I go back to Massachusetts, if I go back to my little town of Manchester by the sea, the vibe is a little bit intense there. Okay, it's not as chill. And here, every night is festive. I can go to a food, like a market every night, and there's something different, exciting, and interesting. But the organic people only show up on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and now there's some guy selling organic almonds and all kinds of other nuts and things. And we go there and help them out a little bit with the cash flow and all this. So they're doing a fair and a festival every night. I'm visiting them. They're all over in Thailand. You heard about markets here. It's just crazy good. Some markets we got to keep away from. They got these, some people get sick there. So we just leave. We don't go. And just when you embrace your change, think about, I talked about a few things, a few places I went in my life and a few reasons why I changed to get your thinking going, well, what is it that you would like to do? It's not, I picked what I wanted to do. I'm not telling you anything of what to do. I'm only opening the window and letting the light in and opening the doorway to getting out of the box that maybe someone said that you were supposed to stay in for the last 12 months, 16 months. And you're smiling again. You can take that rag off your face. I can't find one nearby. And smile and engage with people and breathe fresh air and get out and profit from that, right? In whatever way that you have. But we just happen to have jewelry. And I have set up all kinds of programs for businesses that want to be online or businesses that want to do fairs, festivals, and events. I put together packages. If you've never done it, I put together training with my over 30 years experience. I can talk with you one-on-one. And I've done some very, very high level master coaching from the masters here in this country and overseas. And I have learned, what I learned about me is I'm a very good coach because the students, we practiced at some of these things. I only took the course because I wanted to find out what it was about and what it takes to really help people. I invested 10 grand in one course, okay? And it lasted a year, but there's a renewal fee of $500 a year. You want to stick and see what's new. Well, I didn't need to. I stuck for a couple of years. And because I got what I got, and with some people that were there, the girl and I, she's sharp, she's a smart girl, business. She's like probably 26, sitting next to me, and so we were learning all this stuff in like 4 days had passed. This thing's for 5 days, solid training. Okay, stuff that I don't know. So I keep learning no matter what I learned 30 or 40 years ago. I keep stacking on because I am so curious. And I want to see when I have it right and when I don't have it right. And I'm communicating people because I'm a bit of a loner. I like solitude, okay? But I'm here showing up. I'm not a super social person. I mean, I'm not a network and all that, but I just show up because I got this good stuff for you. And I put together these packages, a 5K where it's turnkey, $10,000 investment, a $15,000 investment. I mean, you take your money and you pick where you want to go. You pick out some fairs, festivals, events, hop in your car and find some Airbnb or hotels, or get a little motor home. Or if you got one already, a van conversion, however a big giant motorhome. I mean, there's a couple, $200,000, $300,000. And if you just thought, I love to design jewelry, Peter, would you make me a line of jewelry? We'll do that too. And that's in 2 of the packages, free. A whole line of jewelry that says you. That says you, not me. But we have 43 niche markets. So there's plenty to start with from a turnkey. I know I've done this firsthand. You can see some of these things behind me. I'm at a show. And I thought, well, let me go to China and get some money back. We've sent so much money to China. It's time to reverse the cash, right? So I figured I'll go there and I'll sell. Well, I don't ever want to go there again. I did 3 shows, and I will never go back there because the culture and the people just believe, well, we'll just copy and we'll do the same thing, and we're here to like see what we can steal from you. That's just the culture. And rare to get the truth, and I know that firsthand. So I just leave it alone. And I like my culture as an American, as a world traveler. And the culture of the Western world, I like it. We respect each other mostly. There's a few that don't. And that's just the world. And that's part of the traveling and the learning that we all know about. It's nothing new. So let's get back to the good stuff. There's challenges and there's changes. So you got to change. What are you going to do? Because based on the way people are talking in general, like people are telling us that life isn't good. Like, really? What world? And that's government people are telling us how bad life sucks. I don't get it because my life doesn't. And I know a lot of people, I don't care about the color of his skin. Their life doesn't suck. And it doesn't matter their ethnicity. Their life doesn't suck. They're real about the world, and they come to America because it's a great country and it's one of the safest countries in the world. And I know because I've been to over 101 countries. I know firsthand, not what the people tell me on the newspaper, on the news, on the computer, on my phone. I know firsthand. That's the way I like to get my information. So, West Africa. 1978. I'm in West Africa on an old freighter ship and heading across the Atlantic, and I'm walking down the passageway and the smoke is billowing out this ganja. 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, wow, what a trip this is going to be. I'm an engineer now. I'm a third engineer. I'm going down and I got to do this work. And then these people, come on in. I'm like, okay, crazy. And I like, it's not my thing, but the partying was crazy on that trip. So we got to West Africa and we started unloading the cargo on the cranes. And was from Project Hope. Sacks, big giant sacks of flour. I don't know, they were huge. They had to be 100-pound, maybe they were more. But they were big. And it said, there were hands shaking, hands across the ocean, and not for resale written on every single bag. Well, right on the dock, people were buying, moving around, taking this stuff, getting it right off the ship. Deals are being made right on the dock, had no control. And I'm going to give my money to Hope and hope that that stuff gets to the people that need it. I don't know. This is another firsthand experience where people ask me for money, and it's in my heart. In Thailand here, we go out in the countryside, we buy books. We give them our books. We give them our computers. We go to the schools. We talk to the teacher of the school and go to the physical school and help the people. See the mahout. You don't see them on the street anymore. The people riding the elephants, no more. I'm like driving to my office. This was in the 90s. And I'm like, holy crap. I'm just driving. There's this guy riding an elephant down the street. And I'm like, shit, let's bring him to the company. And so my wife's brother's working at the company. I said, Chai, go get the elephant, please. This is so cool. And so he goes down and he gets the elephant guy because we want to help him and give him some food and give him some money because that's what they come to the city for, for support. And he came to our factory. We have a picture of it someplace in front of the factory. The elephant, the mahout, and we're feeding it. And the girls, I didn't know. Pregnant girls or ladies in Thailand, what if they walk around the elephant 3 times under the trunk of the elephant, it's like serious good luck. And you see how life is filled with miracles. I mean, I didn't have a clue, but I'm just out living my life in another country that was a struggle. It wasn't a struggle. I mean, I don't want to use that. It was an adventure, like a really tough adventure. And sometimes a struggle because I got to do things like admin stuff that I don't like to do. So that makes it a struggle. That part I want to define: struggle, adventure. The struggle is stuff that you got to do that you don't really like, but you do it anyway because it's part of the adventure. But it's such a small part of the big adventure. It's like you do it, might make a noise or two, and you get through it. But you learn after doing a few things. Oh, just another day. It's just another day. And meditation, quiet, silence, solitude will get you there. Will get you to that space like, no big deal. Another day, another challenge. We'll address it. Bring it on. Let's see what we can do. Embrace. Bring it on. Whenever I get challenged, I'm like thinking, So we have a little silver challenge. The price of silver is going up. If you own it right now, it's getting more valuable. So I have to tell people, well, you know what? The price of silver is going up. Our wholesale price is probably going to go up soon, but not yet. I got right over there in my computer the big spreadsheet of 54,000 SKUs that I got sent yesterday. Peter, please review this. Check it out. Price of silver went from $27 to $28. That's a nice value increase in your inventory. So when you embrace change and you go to look for something new to profit, I thought jewelry was really smart because it's portable, easy to move. You can sell it anywhere. You can set up a table at any small market, big market, supermarkets, country fair, at a friend's house, and get a bunch of people together and do a jewelry party. I mean, it's endless. And that's where these are the things that I'll teach you because I did jewelry parties when I was on the road. I met a woman who had a store. She said, Peter, can you come to my house? Because I have all these people. And she didn't sell jewelry, but I was talking to her about buying it. She said, can you come to my house? And the jewelry wasn't set up for wholesale, for retail, but I quickly put something together, and I walked away with like $300. And these girls were like having a blast going through this jewelry. And that was a party, a bit of a small fair and a festival. So doors just open up. If you sit and whine and complain about, oh, it's changing, I don't know, my God, it's not the same. Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure. That is a definite. And I don't always like it either, because I go back to my little town of Manchester by the sea, and some things have changed. Some things have not, and that's why I go back. So I embrace the change and do my very best to enjoy it and make the most out of it. And the energy that I feel there, and I wrote a book there about like 600 pages. Every morning, woke up, looked over that harbor, remembered like the stuff growing up on that harbor, the lessons I learned, the profound moments just as a kid out in my rowboat by myself. All that stuff came back to me. And I'm like, where's this stuff coming from? Because I don't think of it. And I read about writing. So maybe you want to write or something too. Like the muse shows up. And I'm like, so what's the muse? And if you're in the entertainment business or in the energy business, the mind business, that it's really just your connection with God or the universe or your higher power that is always there for you when there's like one set of steps. They're not yours, baby. There's somebody else carrying you and getting you through this stuff. So I always lived and I always went forward with faith and knowing whatever your faith is, find your own, find it up, find it down, find it wherever you find it. It's just expect the best to happen, and it will. Like when that little elephant and the mahout was walking down the street, I never realized what I had done for the 3 pregnant women in my company, and maybe some that were thinking about it. And then in just general luck, people walked under it, and I'm like, man, so cool. Like when you go do something new, life shows up. The magic shows up. So you gotta embrace the change. Don't do the same old stale stuff. I have another word for it, but I'll be cool and calm. I don't need to use it. We'll walk above that stuff, right? We'll leave it behind us. Embrace change in your life. And Peter Stone has change for jewelry. I have coaching and I have consulting also. By the way, don't forget to subscribe. I think there's a little bell for everyone's on YouTube and on Instagram. Follow. And I want to know, what is the change you want to embrace? Ask me how, because I seriously, I have an answer for every question. And the answer might be another question. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will dig so deep inside and find out what you're made out of and who you are and what your greatness is, that when you take a break from where you were and you bond with who you are at your core, above, below, all around, you, your energy, your best you, I can yank that out of you. Sometimes you might not like me. how I will do it. I promise. The only way it will hurt is because you'll say, I should have done that 10 years ago, Peter. And you will walk away. You don't beat yourself up for anything. Just don't do it. There's reasons why you're here at this moment, or you're someplace else at that moment, experiencing that thing, because that thing is what you need in this moment. That's a gift. You embrace the gifts, comfortable or uncomfortable. Ask the question, why, what, how, where is the upside? Just always ask, where is the upside? Not, oh, why me? Why does this always happen to me? And then you get more of that crap. No, and more of that thinking, oh, that hurts just to say it. I apologize to myself because my throat is clogged up now. My solar plexus hurts when I talk like that. I'm serious. So you want to speak your words. Lift up your words, words that matter. Ask the question, where's the upside to this situation that seems unbearable, awful, like you don't like it, but just ask the question. What is the seed of opportunity? What is the upside? Where is it? Let me look for that. And I go to bed and I sleep, and then the magic starts out, and then a day passes, a couple of days pass, a week passes, and boom, wow, something just happens. The greatness of the moment inside, hidden inside, like a box of Cracker Jacks. If you remember, hot summer day eating Cracker Jacks, your hands get all sticky and sugary, and down in the bottom, after all that goo, you even have, if you're a kid, have something on your face, but there's a little prize in there, a little prize. So sometimes a very big prize. So I'm here in a lot of capacity. And in our programs, I do the coaching. I do the coaching free to get you going. And I do the consulting free to get you going. It's limited. But if you don't want to get into a package, you want coaching or consulting for business that's not jewelry. Look, I've had coffee roasting business. I've had a restaurant. I've had 15 retail stores. I've had a fishing business, numerous fishing business, captain's license, run charter boats. Stores. I mean, it's just a long list. And it's not about I, me. It's about experience. It's about what I can share with you and help you, help me, help you make the world a better place. Click on the link, sign up, ask your questions. What are they? What are they? Open up, let the floodgates go. Send us an email. Send me an email. Attention, Peter. hello@peterstone.com. Give us a call. I want to talk to Peter. And then we'll send you a link for our Calendly, and we'll have a few questions because time is valuable. You're valuable. I want to make sure your questions are where we want to be, at least the questions, okay? You're at a place where I actually can help you. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't waste my team's time. So we filter, right? That's like something in business that we do, and our profits are bigger when we filter everything. Not just this thing. I'm giving you an example. When you filter, you get to where you need to go a little better, maybe a little more express, maybe make a little more money doing what you're going to do. And I'm here. My team's here. Thank you. And I'll be here tomorrow. So come and hang out and say hi. And I hope to see you here, there, wherever in the world. Peter Stone, I'm checking out. I'll see you tomorrow.